Welcome, everyone. My name is Teri Bybee, and I am the founder of Women Who Risk. And today I am so proud and excited to be introducing Destini Brown. And she is our current interviewee of Women Who Risk, Women Leaders. So we're getting an opportunity to learn more about her, but just a little bit of basics. So Destini's a 26-year-old content creator, business owner, and woman of faith who's learning to walk through life's challenges with grace, purpose, and courage. So excited to hear more about that. Just in general, is there anything more you want to say to introduce yourself?
No, Terry, you've done an amazing job. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, well then let's
Truly
dive
honored.
right in.
Alrighty.
So, just thinking about your career up to date, what inspires you to take or inspired you to take joyful risks?
To break the cycle of just being a woman of color and have grown up with ups and downs and challenges. No one's childhood or upbringing is perfect. And I definitely feel like it was my job and my responsibility to embody whatever healing was required of me to walk in purpose. And for a brief moment, I like to learn the hard way. And in learning the hard way, I had to endure things that required me to step in courage and to call on God more to be able to walk in purpose because I got misaligned for a while. Again, hard-headed. So I think in that time of my life of being a young adult, it definitely pushed me to a point of just taking charge and taking control over me and not blaming anyone else for my life or my outcomes or how I feel and all the things. It's my job, my life. And that is definitely what spearheaded the courage and the desire to take myself on another level, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, everything, as a young person, for sure.
Well, I'm going to say that it's actually really beautiful to hear because we all learn at different ranges and rates and ages. So I'm always super excited when I hear young people that have stepped onto a path earlier in life than say I did.
Mm,
And so again, it's never too late, right?
yeah.
But to
Yeah.
know that you've taken this choice and step towards depth
Mhm.
and self-understanding and the growth that goes with that is a beautiful thing. So,
Yes. Thank you.
so happy
Thank
to
you.
have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
So,
it was. Yes, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, so let's talk maybe about some more specific risks. So,
Right.
what would one or two of the most significant risks that you've taken, and what was the outcome for each?
One of the risks that I took at a young age of, I think I was 21, I was in a relationship and got married. And that was the big pivotal moment in my life where I took charge on healing and breaking the generational cycle because that relationship did not end the way that I wanted it to. And it forced me into a level of healing and self-reflection that I didn't know I needed at the time. And
Mm,
that really was pivotal for me to, although me being 21, 22 years old at the time, I I think I unintentionally but intentionally spearheaded my growth, because I just didn't want that to stop me in who I was called to be because I wanted to learn the hard way on some things. And that really that's what changed my life for the good, for the bad, but it definitely has forced me to embody the level of personal authority that God gave me,
mm,
to be able to take responsibility as well as take responsibility for my healing, as a woman and lead by example, and to also give grace to myself that although life has had its ups and downs and outcomes didn't have the desire that I initially wanted them to be, I can still come out okay and even better than before. My past, my mistakes do not define me. And I take so much pride in the hard work that it took for me to get where I am today. Because had I not chosen to not mishandle me in that season of life, I don't know where I would be right now. I have no
Beautiful.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to speak for just a moment. You've more than once said that you chose to learn the hard way, and I'm gonna flip that just a little bit.
Okay.
Um, knowing your the depth of faith that you're speaking of, I
Yes,
believe that there's a divine plan for everything.
for sure.
And whether we know what the reason for things to happen, because bad things happen to good people, and we know that.
Yes.
I feel like rather than, and this is maybe a learning moment for both of us or for people that are listening, it's not that you're making hard choices. It's these are certain or making hard learning choices, or however you want to speak to that. It's more of this was the best learning cycle that I could be in, and a greater
Absolutely.
power knew this,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
So it's not that we made bad choices or we chose
Yes.
to learn the hard way, but for whatever reason, there was this cycle of events that needed to occur to
Hmm.
allow us to get to, just as you've said, I mean, you've
Hmm.
definitely said, and this happened and allowed me
Hmm.
to take this specific journey, right? To
Yes.
make these
Hmm.
specific choices. So I'm going to challenge you a little bit just to maybe rewrite
Yeah.
that verbiage, because it makes it sound like you're that you made bad choices, and
No.
that's no, you lived life,
Right. Yes.
and
Definitely.
things happen.
Yeah. I
Happen.
definitely, yeah, I agree. And I appreciate that insight and that perspective because I think it's one of those things for me personally that I can be my hardest critic. And that's that voice, I think, a little bit that kind of wants to show up. It's like, wait, it's okay, give yourself grace. You're human,
Right.
you know?
When you said that, and I wanted to give myself grace, I thought, okay, and there's another way you can do that.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
being a recovering perfectionist myself, which that means I always had a plan, still do, and have expectations. It's how do we handle when those expectations get waylaid, right?
Yes.
When something else shows up, and um, I don't know about a lot of the time, but I would say a lot of the time in hope, right? A lot of the time, what ends up showing up is even better than what we could have imagined,
Yes.
just not what we planned.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, definitely have that going on as well. So
absolutely.
that was one of your risks, and you talked about the outcome. Was there anything that any other like major risk maybe in your learning, because whether it's schooling, whether it's professional learning in your career, that felt like a major risk?
Yes, I would say actually kind of recently I decided to go back to school and finish getting my associate's degree. And I didn't tell anyone I was in school. Didn't tell anyone because I didn't want the fear of not finishing was so heavy that I didn't want to
Oh,
tell family or friends and all the people, and I end up getting, I don't know, distracted or didn't finish. And all while deciding to go back to school, I was working three jobs at the same time as well and
wow.
maintaining just my daily life of dog mom and all the things. And that was a risk that I was terrified to make because I was not only going back to school to finish what I started, but I was going back to school to prove to myself that I have the ability to be educated and I am intelligent and I can learn. Even though I haven't been in college in 4, 5, 6 years, I can still do it. I haven't held a textbook in I don't know how long, but I'm like, I want to prove to myself that I'm intelligent. I want to prove to myself that I am not behind, that I can do it, that I don't need the validation of others to do it as well. It was a whole like internal, like me against me type of moment and season that I had to go through to really see and prove to myself the kind of power that I felt like I had but couldn't embody yet. And that was huge for me. My mom didn't know I was in school till I took her to my graduation day, same day. I told
Wow.
her to come to my house at this time and we were going to my graduation. And it was such a beautiful moment because I was able to make my mom proud, but also show myself that in the midst of this trial of life and all the things, you can still do it. And it's okay, you
Yeah.
know? So that was huge for me.
Yeah. And one I would just reiterate part of what you're saying from the standpoint, and you did it alone.
Yes.
There's there's definitely risk to that, right? Because you're not counting on anyone else's support. But I
Mm-hmm.
also think that it speaks to there's a level of discernment
Mm-hmm.
that's needed when it comes to life goals, when it comes to our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It is not beneficial to share with anybody and everybody. Just
Mm-hmm.
not, because then we're inviting in critiques, um, feedback,
Mm-hmm.
suggestions, whatever different level from maybe people that really don't serve us to
Yeah.
get that from. It's like, do I, there's a level of, do I care what they think about it? Because they're not on my team, right?
Right.
The people that truly love and support you, that are going to be your cheerleaders versus the critics.
Yeah.
So you chose to not even have to worry about that by not telling anyone.
Yeah.
Now, going it alone, that's a risk. I
Mm-hmm.
think another side of that risk can be, just for our listeners, can be you do choose to share, but you're discerning
Mm-hmm.
on who you share it with,
Mm-hmm.
because that was a huge risk to not have that additional support
Mm-hmm.
and to risk that you could count on yourself, which
Yeah.
paid off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I needed to prove to myself that I could do it. It was just, I had doubted myself for so long about just my ability to learn and my education and feeling almost inadequate in some ways, like, oh, I didn't finish school, like I can't do this, can't do that. But I'm like, wait a minute. God says you can do all things through Christ that strengthens. So who am I to tell myself that I can't accomplish something because I'm just scared? Let me rewrite that narrative and take a chance on me and prove to myself that I can do it. And I don't need a room full of people cheer me on. I need God cheer me on. And that's enough and that's okay. Even in the midst, I mean, I've never been in school and I've 100% fully needed to support myself and my little fur baby, but I did it and flourished and building a business while also doing content creating and being a student and working multiple jobs. And it was like, wait, this is possible with some discipline. This is
Right.
possible.
Right.
And it proved to other family members and other women that I know that are working jobs or in relationships say, oh, I can't go back to school. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. Well, no, it's possible. You just got to want it. Just do it.
Right.
Don't let the fear of the what if hold you back because you'll be surprised what you can accomplish when you just believe in yourself enough or take the risk. You
Right.
know, it's
Well, and
huge.
you'd mentioned, yes, it is huge. And you'd mentioned earlier about being our biggest critic. What we
Hmm.
have to also remember, because that voice is there.
Hmm.
So we have to temper that voice by also being our biggest cheerleaders.
Yes.
We can use our faith to help support that, but it has to come from within.
Yes.
So yeah, it is a balance. It is a bit of a tightrope because
Yes,
we
for
are still
sure.
very, very human.
Hmm.
And we do, I think women more than men, but I'm not going to totally, disregard that men probably deal with it as well. But
Hmm.
women are huge critics of themselves and
Hmm.
sometimes of each other, which
Hmm.
again is part of the reason I'm doing this series is to show how we can support each other, be
Hmm.
cheerleaders for each other, just by living, sharing our lived experiences.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I love that.
yay. So, just talking about some of the challenges that you've been through, and then I think we all go through, right? So, how did you overcome feelings of self doubt or fear when taking these risks?
Mm. I got into books and I got into podcasts, ones that were aligning with not only my faith, but just where I wanted to go in life.
Yeah.
And I also knew that I had to rewire the brain because my old story wasn't working for me anymore. My old way of doing things was not working for me anymore. And if I wanted to walk into the authority that God has called me to be in, I had to do things different. The same steps were not going to get me to different outcomes. And so I really became really intentional about who I got around, family, friends, coworkers, I was so intentional about my crowd of people that were
Mm.
around me on a regular because, you know, people can either help or hinder. And if I'm looking
Right.
to empower myself or maintain a positive mindset and perspective on things, I have to be around people who also can pour into me in that same regard. And listening to books and just being able to be a sponge to the things I didn't know about me and to heal in that same process. You know, I had to um, break down my ego a little bit and I had to say, okay, what do I need to get to where I'm trying to go? And funny enough, I actually my mirror, my restroom, I made a mindset mirror. I labeled it mindset mirror and wrote a bunch of Bible verses and affirmations and just things that I know I need to see every single day to truly remind myself and embody you are not your past. You are this, you are that. God has you. All these different things because
Mm.
the world is already negative enough that my own mind can stoop down that rabbit hole if I don't check it quick, fast, and in a
Right.
hurry. And so I had to find ways. I had calendars and affirmations everywhere in my apartment because I didn't want to go a day without reminding myself who I
Mm.
am capable of, even when on those days when I didn't feel like it, you know, while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm doing my hair, while I'm walking by, I need to be able to remember God has you. You will overcome this and all the things. And that was huge for me. I had to also call on those people who could pour into me. I was introduced to some lovely women as well that were powerful women that were different. They embodied a level of lack of self doubt and self confidence that I was trying to accomplish as well and grow into. So being able to communicate with them and express. That was huge for me. And surprising enough as well, content creation really got rid of a lot of my self doubt. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I think just putting myself out there and growing a sense of tough skin that I didn't realize I needed to be able to defeat my own mind sometimes. It really helped me to one understand who God made me to be and what it was take to maintain that. It isn't an overnight thing. It's definitely a seasonal, everyday intentional habits and behavior of choosing, you know. I think a lot of people get lost in the mundane things of life and, oh, how was your day? Oh, it was okay. But no, I choose to have a great day. I choose to put a smile on my face, even when I feel like crying, because that, it, again, is rewiring the brain to be able to embody what I need to, which is getting rid of the self doubt and walking into self respect. I gained my self respect back when I understood and I kept my own promises to myself. And just I really took so much power and intention behind growing and healing that it was scary. It was
But scary
scary.
good.
It was scary good. Absolutely. It's like I wouldn't change anything because
Mm.
those nights when I would cry and I did not know, and I was calling on God to help me and give me peace. In that same time, I was still so grateful for the opportunity to even wake up, you
Mm.
know? The opportunity to even be able to have a vehicle or to have a job or whatever I'm complaining about. I'm like, I'm grateful that I even have the opportunity to even complain about it because this
Mm.
didn't have to be here, you know? So that really helped me to grow a mindset of gratitude. And that also helped get rid of that doubt that I was dealing with and struggling with for quite some time. Yeah.
Beautiful. So one of the things I want to just pull out is when you're talking about your what I'm going to call your tribe, the people
Mm-hmm.
you choose to have around you. I've done quite a bit of leadership study myself, and one of the things they talk about is if you're raising your vibration, which is absolutely what you're doing when you're going from self-doubt to self-confidence, raising
Mm-hmm.
your vibration, you want those people that you want to be most like to be the ones you hang out with, because there are a lot of naysayers. There is a lot of negativity out there. And just as you're saying, to choose happiness, to choose,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and even, so we have tears. Tears are going to happen. We're human.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how do we then deal with that? We honor the emotion,
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason we're human and we feel those things, but it's then, do we get bogged down in the muck of it, or do
Mm-hmm.
we learn from it, grow from it, move through it,
Mm-hmm.
embrace it from a positive standpoint of, this is helping me to become that better person that you've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So having the right people around you, having the right mindset
Mm-hmm.
that you're speaking of, so powerful,
Mm-hmm.
so powerful. And not to, again, giving ourselves grace. We're going to have those moments, right?
Oh
Where
yeah.
maybe we don't resolve it the best way possible,
Yeah.
or we get stuck for 2 or 3 days. And it's still acknowledging that maybe we got out of it in 3 days instead of the 7 or month or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might have been in the past.
Yeah.
So giving ourselves grace and acknowledging what we've done, our journey, our choices,
Mm-hmm.
and what we've chosen to bring into our lives, people, things, thoughts, attitudes, etc. So yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. So knowing that you talked about having 3 jobs and doing schooling and being a fur baby mama, all that, how do you balance risk taking with your responsibilities in your personal life?
Oh, that's a great question. Sometimes I feel like I don't balance, if I can be honest. Sometimes I feel like it is a walking ball of chaos in life. But like you just said, in honoring where you are in life is almost like just as much of important and valuable to just give yourself grace. Sometimes I don't give myself grace and I need to. But the way that I find balance, again, like I'll have to write things down. I have to put things in a calendar. I have gotten to that point. People laugh at me even at my young age that I have to put everything in a calendar. Things I need order because things can get so crazy. And I feel like without order, without some sense of organization, of planning, preparation, there is no way I can do what I'm doing. And there are times when, people have asked me, Destiny, how do you do it all? I don't, God does. This energy is not me because if it was me, I would be taking a couple cups of coffee a day, some energy drinks just to maintain. But I'm so fired up because God has put so much power and purpose behind my pain of going through a divorce, losing loved ones, being a fur mom, and all those different things that that is what keeps me going. That knowing that what I'm going through right now will be a testimony, and it will be one, my testimony, but for two, so someone else can be able to uh hear it, resonate with it, and be able to maybe change their life. That is what keeps me going. It's not the satisfaction of accomplishing certain things, it's being a vessel. That is definitely how I manage it all. And I truly give all glory to God and all glory to my calendars and organization because there's no way I can manage it. And that's just me being super transparent. It's really hard. And of course, I don't have any human babies, but my little fur baby, I treat her like a child sometimes. And I probably shouldn't, but she takes up a lot of time and mental capacity on top of multiple jobs and all the things. But I also try to remember not to let the things I have to do stop me from doing the things that I love to do, which is content creating, in the midst of working my multiple jobs to maintain afloat in this economy. I never want to lose sight of what brings me so much joy. And that's my business, my dog, and content creation. That is what puts a smile on my face at the end of the day. That is
Beautiful.
what keeps me going for sure.
Yeah. And, I, as you said, giving a lot of glory to God, and He's there for everyone, but it's the
Yeah.
people that choose to then step into it. And just
Yes.
like you're talking about, they say purpose, planning, and practice is what
Mm-hmm.
leads to true success. So that's really where you have to take the gift, embody the gift, and
Mm-hmm.
then step out to show your purpose to the world, right?
Absolutely.
So again, it's you have to, each individual, that's pointing to everybody, you have to take the step,
Mm-hmm.
because there's all the fables of where God laid it all out, and you just watch the boat float by and not realizing that was your boat if you
Mm-hmm.
just stepped into it, right?
Absolutely.
In the floods.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of left that hanging and dangling in a weird way, but we got it right.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's when you talked about the balance of remembering the tasks, right? The daily
Mm-hmm.
tasks that help with our survival, keeping roofs over our heads, etc. But
Mm-hmm.
with your passion and your joy, I mean, that's where joyful risks come in, right? The
Mm-hmm.
joyful risk, the risk is that you bring joy into the living and the choices you make, and whether it's for the task side of things or the creation side of things, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
beautiful. What do you think other women, what do you think that other women need to hear about taking joyful risk?
Mm.
Women of the world.
Women of the world. I would say your voice still matters.
Mm,
I think that's huge. For a while, I lost my voice, not intentionally, but I lost the power behind my voice and getting caught up in life and relationships and families and all the things. It's easy to do, I feel like. And I think women embody so much power. Whether you're a believer or not, you have so much power just instilled in you that never lose sight of your voice, no matter how
mm,
crazy life gets, because there is someone who needs to hear what you have to say and see what you need to do, no matter what, no matter what, you
agreed.
know? Yeah.
Agreed. That's why my purpose is to talk to as many women from different cultures, different backgrounds, different races, different ages,
Hmm.
etc., because we all have something important to share.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at us as a sisterhood. We are all
Yes.
sisters of humanity, and we need each other.
Hmm.
We need to uplift each other. And I love that you're talking about to remembering your voice. Um, and we are seeing that in action in a lot of ways, not just women, but women and men, just with everything that's been going on. But
Hmm.
women have been stifled so many times through history
Yeah.
that we have to take the step and stand up for ourselves. I mean, as individuals,
Hmm.
as individual women, we have to have that voice for
Yes.
ourselves, and then watch, just as you're mentioning, watching the ripple effect of how it can support and uplift other women and remind them that they too have a voice.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
beautiful. So final question.
Okay.
So how do you see the role of risk taking evolving for women in leadership as we step into the future?
Mm. Oh,
Okay, you just gave me chills with your hoo. So
oh,
let's see. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
that's deep. That maybe I have to. Whoa. Okay. You said how
How do you see the role of joyful risk taking evolving for women in leadership as we step into the future?
when you said that, I saw a woman president in my mind. That's why I was like, sheesh.
I love it.
How, when, I don't
I'm
know,
all
but
behind that.
right. I definitely think I think when women embody the voice, yes, and also take the risk of stepping into courage
Mm,
and not running away from the what if of failure, I think I think there are women who have callings on their lives to be really, really powerful in this world, to make a huge change, to pretty much almost rewrite history. I'm not
mm,
saying there are things that men can do and that are great at. I don't want to take that anyway from any men of power and all the things, but I definitely think there is something so unspoken and so powerful, deep rooted behind a woman who takes a chance and
mm,
takes the risk of being taking up space. And a lot of people and women don't know how to take up space in a way that is impactful, not to take up space to cause a scene, but to take up space to say, hey, I was made with some power. Let's make
mm,
something happen. And to not shy away from being shut down by men or other women, because there are some powerful things that I know that there are so many women that can accomplish, including myself, you know. There's like the world needs more women to just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. Just do it. You'd be
Yeah.
surprised what can happen when you just take the risk. And I think a lot of times people get so fearful of the risk and it being hard that they don't realize that that hard is also some joy too. Because yeah, you're gonna go through uncomfortable, but on the other side of that season of uncomfortability, it's going to bring a level of joy and peace and happiness that you never even thought was possible. And not only did that come, but you're also helping people, other women and other people embody that same thing. So I think in the future of women taking risks, joyful risks, I think it is going to be insane if we when we fully and embody taking up the space and living on purpose because we all have a purpose to live. We all do,
Mhm.
men, woman or not, we all have a purpose that God wants us to walk in and full authority of, even when it's scary, because it will be scary and it'll be hard as crap, but it's worth it. Absolutely
Right.
worth it. Yeah.
Beautiful. It brought to mind, I have a meditative prayer that I do every night, and part of it is that I move from success to success and fail forward,
Yeah.
because it's oftentimes to our mistakes and our failures that we have the greatest growth or the greatest momentum is built. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, they talk about Oprah, and that, just so many great minds out there today, successful people, that when you ask them about their story, what they talk most about are the failures,
Yeah.
those things that didn't go right, because that's what led them to the right answer, the right path, the right. Yeah. So courage. Yeah, I
Oh
love
yeah.
that. I
So
love that.
huge. Yes. So huge.
Well, speaking of courage,
Yes.
Destiny, thank you so much for having the courage to come and be with me today to talk about joyful risk. I felt like there was so many words of wisdom that were so impactful that people are going to really enjoy hearing and connecting with. So thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure and a wonderful blessing to be a part of this. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
And with that, we'll close. Thank you.